when using these two operators on pointers, it's kind of the you have keep in mind it's different from the operation on the values. This is an example to use these two operations when we have an integer array nums, and let's define a pointer here. At the very beginning, we can set that pointer to the nums. As we have introduced previously, the name of an array is actually the starting address of that array in the memory. And in the memory, an array will be saved um, in in a way that each of its member variable were next to each other. For example, the num0 is next to the is followed by the num1, num2, num3, and so on and so forth. So that means there is a little bit offsets of the address of those member variables. So here we're saying it at the starting position of that array. That means the address of the nums 0. So and then we use the plus. It's equals to plus it's increased the values of that pointer by 1. The 1 is not a value 1, it's actually 1 unit uh, of that integer. For example, here we're actually using the integer. One integer, as we have introduced, takes 4 bytes there. So in that case, that address will be increased by 4 because in the memory it takes 4 bytes. It's a changing of the address rather than the value. So this is something different from the variable. From the ordinary variables for integer, the plus will increase the value by 1. However, here, by using this operator, the address will be increased by 1 unit of the data type. Here it's an integer, the data type is an integer, so it will be increased by the corresponding number of bytes of that data type. Here, then we increase the value by 3, it will be shifted to the address of the nums 4. And also by using the minus, it will decrease the value by 1 unit of that data type. That means the address will be set to the nums 3. And also, so in that reason, in that case, this operation like increase them by the 0.2 is not allowed because there is no such kind of address for that. It should always be integer when you are operating the pointers. This is pretty important. Let's explain that with this example. Here you could see we have an integer array of tests, including 10 elements or 10 member variables there. Then we initialize each of them with the I. That means the I is from the range of 0 to 9. We're setting them to the corresponding position of the test array. So when the array has been printed out, it will be something like this. The 0 elements that are the first elements or member variable of test is 0. The second is 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth until 9. So that's the result of this part. And then um, we can set a pointer PINT to the starting position of that test array. So then we use this loop each time we increase the value of the pointer by 1 unit. Remember, it's 1 unit rather than the value 1. Then in this case, we will visit the test array one by one, because each time here we are when we increase the pointer by 1 unit, it will be pointed to the starting the address of the next element or member variables there. So that in that case, you could see it read the value out here. So here are some examples where increase the value by 2, by 3, or decrease the value by 1 or by 3. You will see it will read out the values from the corresponding elements. We can do the similar things on char array. Here we have a char array, which is a string. We can initialize them with this welcome to count 10, 11. So in that case, each of the character will be saved as one element of this array, like what's showing here. We're printing out each of the character of that test array. So you will see the result from here. And in this second set of loop, we're using a pointer to do that. And at the very beginning, we are setting the starting position of the test to this pointer. Then every time we increase that value by 1 unit of char. In that case, we can visit each of the elements of the test array, the char array, very similar like what we have done for the integer array. So we're printing out the result here. Okay, in this slide, note that the results, because we don't have that enough space, so I'm actually I'm copying that part output below this line output to here. So it's kind of misleading because but there's no other we don't have choice, so we have to do that way. But this you just have to pay attention. And in the real output, this whole part should be no here rather than like their display in currently in these slides. Then so you will see here using the pointer, you will have the same result like visiting each of the elements chars. You will see here. So then similarly, we can visit them by increase the value by 2 units, 3 units, and decrease the value by 1 and 3 units. And you will see the result here. It's very similar like what we have done for the integer array. Okay, that's it. This is pretty much what I have to introduce for pointers.